What is up guys, Farhan here and welcome back to another ultimate review. This is a review of the 2016 BMW R1200 GSA Venture. Hey guys, huge thanks to Xing Motor for loaning me this BMW 1200 GS Adventure for the ultimate review. They're a bike shop selling new and used bikes. Located at 3006 Ubi Road 1, 01-356 at Kampong Ubi. They provide low interest, no admin fee and GST. Clear installment breakdown. Currently for new bikes, the interest is at 3.5% and for used bike is at 4.5%. So come on down to Xing Motors if you're in search for a new or used motorcycle. Right guys, so I just got this GSA yesterday and I've been riding it around the whole day and I really had a lot of fun with it. And honestly, I'm pretty nervous about this review. I just want to get all the information right and I don't want to offend any GS riders or riders who are really well versed with this bike. But if I get some things wrong, if there's any shortcomings to this review, my sincere apologies, but I'm just doing it in my style, my way. And sometimes when you research online, information may be very contradicting lah. So there's a lot of info about the GS, but at the same time there's also a lot of fake news out there. My first ever BMW GS review. I'm not going to count the G310 GS. Officially this is our second BMW review. And yeah, this is the holy grail of all adventure bikes. The adventure bikes, when other manufacturers want to compare specs for their own adventure bike, they will compare it usually with the GS, saying that the GS is better and whatsoever. But from my experience yesterday with this bike, nothing comes close. I've tested a lot of bikes for this channel and really nothing ever comes close to this. Even this bike is featured on the Tambak Overlanders logo, which is just to basically represent adventure lah. I don't know, I may be a GS guy after this. I'm not sure, but we shall see. Right guys, so sitting on this bike right now using the foot pack because I am vertically challenged. A whopping 33 litre on the GSA with a projected consumption of 23.3 kilometers per litre. So if you ask me, it's pretty okay, no? Not that bad for a class 2, especially a high performance bike such as this. Although I really didn't measure the fuel consumption, but I was travelling with 1 bar for half the day yesterday and yeah, it did pretty good actually. Lasted almost half a day. 229.1 kg is kind of heavy, especially when you're pushing this bike out and you're stationary like this. Yeah, and I'm vertically challenged also, but I'm gonna get to that to the riding posture and the right height later on lah. Okay, so this is the keyless version 2016. Okay, has actually a little compartment over here, but unfortunately this phone mount has blocked the compartment and preventing it from opening. So I don't know why the previous owner go and put this kind of mount, but really it's an inconvenience, man. So instead he's using a handlebar pouch to store all his things. Starting up, a 2016 model is a keyless version. I think late in 2016, all of the GSs going forward are using keyless lah. So starting up, press on the ignition and you can see the LCD gauge cluster coming to life. Once it comes to life, just press on the kill switch or the starter. Whew. Damn. Honestly speaking, I am pretty nervous about this review. I'm really pretty nervous. I just hope I get everything right and I don't offend anybody or any GS riders. So let's poke some RXZs and Class 2B riders. So as usual for this review, city riding followed by highway riding. I don't know, I may go to Gunung Pulai with this bike to have a bit of fun with it. Riding this bike around, wow, the handling is tip top lah sia. You can take in the corners pretty low and it handles pretty well. It's very nimble. It's the kind of bike whereby you are pretty surprised by its capabilities lah. Like if you have never ever ridden a GS or a bike that is heavy in riding tech, right, such as this riding aids they're supposed to help you. And BMW themselves, they say not to worry, just trust the bike and just push it to the limits. Even BMW themselves encourage that, like you're supposed to go fast into a corner and then jam brake suddenly, then the bike wouldn't like lock up its brakes, and highly unlikely you will fall. So it's that point of danger while riding that this bike protects you from. I must say that it's really proven, like for the price. Okay, we just stall over there. Let me put it back in neutral. So apparently in like other gears, if you stall the bike, you cannot start. You must put it in neutral first and then you start the bike. Even when you're pressing the clutch, it's not gonna start until you put the bike in neutral first. And the clutch is a hydraulic clutch, kind of heavy if you ask me, but at the same time it's not that heavy lah. I would prefer if they had like slipper clutch or something. And when you're shifting up, you don't need to really use the clutch. You don't need to clutch in. You can just shift it up like this. See? But you want to shift it down, you just clutch in. And when riding in the city, I feel that the BMW GSA doesn't really do too well. It's the kind of bike whereby you're supposed to be riding fast with it, but it's still manageable. It's not that bad, I would say. It's still comfortable to be riding in, but you can just feel the bike being held back. It's just saying to you, bro, I can go faster, bro. What are you doing? Still trying to get used to the bike. I know so well. I mean, look at me. I'm just going around the motor box right now in Madini, and the corners pretty well. You can really lean into the corners, man. I'm not gonna go lower lah. I think this is enough. Really scary actually. It's kind of a scary experience, but at the same time it builds up your confidence as you're riding the bike. So city riding, stop traffic, no issues, but I will reckon that for me it's not really that comfortable to ride in, like especially with the bike's weight and the size. You cannot even really lane split this bike in like tight spaces, but it's still manageable. It's still okay if you ask me. Not that bad I would say. And yeah, there's also riding mode. Currently we are in road mode. There's also like off-road mode, and you can toggle the modes accordingly. Just at the handlebar control right here, just a press of a button. Currently I've switched to road mode. I've not tried other modes yet. And the suspension is also adjustable. Currently my suspension is soft. I feel that on Malaysian roads where there's bumpy, it absorbs the impact really well. When you're going on the humps or road markings, bumpy surfaces, the suspension really absorbs the impact and most of it. It's providing you that riding comfort, you know. Speaking of suspension, on normal and hard, it adjusts accordingly. You can also adjust at a long press. You can also adjust if you're riding with a pillion or if you're riding with luggage. When I like pillioned my wife yesterday, I adjusted the suspension accordingly. It makes the bike slightly taller, but when you're with a pillion on it, it's okay lah. I had some trouble this morning because I forgot that the suspension is still adjusted to when I was riding with a pillion. I feel that it's slightly higher and I'm tiptoeing considerably on it. So if you're riding alone, do adjust back your suspension to a single rider lah.
Introduced in 2005 and a top-end variant of the BMW R1200 GS, the BMW R1200 GS Adventure is the definitive machine for long-distance travel. Over the years, through customer feedback, experience and advancement in riding technology, the BMW GS has from time to time again is the go-to long-distance adventure bike for both on and off the road, even at the beaten path. Engine is a 1170cc air or liquid cooled 4-stroke 4-valve twin-cylinder boxer UHC with electronic fuel injection and a 6-speed constant mesh manual transmission with shaft drive.
Alright guys, so before we begin review, I just want to say that if I do get anything wrong or if there's certain things that I didn't say, please don't flame me. I'm really trying my best here. Doing my research on internet, there's been a lot of contradicting information about this bike. And not to forget, as with the GS lineup, with decades of history in its production run, there's bound to be different variations over the years with some additions and some removal of features lah. I seek your understanding. But for this particular model that is being reviewed right now, this is the 2016 model. This particular variation ended production in 2018. So as you can see, I'm braking challenge, and there's also side panniers on the bike. So I cannot obviously mount like this, right? I'm gonna hit my right leg on the side pannier, and also, yeah, I'm kind of short for this bike. Okay, so what you do is that on side stand, you can actually mount your left foot on the foot peg and then just mount it up like this. And yeah, it's perfect. To dismount from the bike, okay, stand on the foot peg again. Voila. So yeah, BMW actually recommends you guys to mount it this way. The side stand can actually take the weight, which is pretty good. So let's start off with the riding posture as usual. So sitting on this bike right now, as you can see, sitting upright, arms stretched out. Typical adventure riding position, very comfortable. The foot pegs is also really comfortable. It's not that high up also. With a ride height of 35 to 35.8 inches. This is at its lowest possible height at 35 inches. I'm 165, so as you can see, this is pretty good. Okay, even though I'm tiptoeing slightly, but actually it's pretty manageable. It's not that high for me, I would say lah. But given that this bike, it weighs 239.1 kg, it's pretty heavy, so in start-stop situations when you're standing on a bike like this, it can get a bit cumbersome lah. So definitely something you need to get used to, and vertically challenged riders, I reckon, will really need some time to get adjusted while wanting to stand on the bike or handle this bike in slow traffic, in city traffic, etc. But on the highway, this weight disappears. It's a really nice bike for when you're riding fast with it. Right guys, so up next we come to the design. So as you can see, this signature look of the GS has always been a bulky and beastly outlook. Everything on here is to serve a function rather than an aesthetics. Has an enduro styling on steroids, giving off a rugged look that is somewhat reminiscent of a tank. With slight curves on it, I would say. Yeah, signature beak at the front, higher suspension is prominent, giving off an ADV look. The asymmetrical headlights has always been a trademark of a GS design, which I'm not really too keen, but BMW has always had this for all their motorbikes for some reason, and also to highlight its adventure purpose. It comes with spoke wheels, which are more durable than alloys. Also, the rear wheel is a single swing arm with shaft drive, stainless steel crash bars that wraps around the bike to protect its body from drops and falls. And I must add, this is actually an option that you can get with the bike. A real solid bash plate at the bottom to protect the bike's undercarriage. The overall outlook may not appeal to some riders, but it slowly grows on you. And for me, because the GS has always looked this way for a very long time, it wouldn't be a GS if it looks otherwise. So up next we come to the handlebar controls and the gauge cluster. So as you can see, the handlebar controls over here. There's a lot of buttons, and you can play with them all at the tip of your fingers basically. So over here to the left, we got the multi-controller for the Navigation 5, which is BMW's own infotainment system, which is not on this bike because it's not on here lah. It's an option actually, but it's ready for the navigation system. We got the high beam, low beam button, the cruise control toggle, hazard lights. Okay, for the trip and info button over here is to control the LCD gauge cluster. So you can toggle the information accordingly using these two buttons. And also got an ABS and a suspension over here. And the suspension button is to toggle the bike's suspension to normal, soft or hard. And we got signal indicators over here, horn. And to the right over here, we got the heated grip buttons. At the press the button, you can feel your palms getting warmer. The mode button to toggle between the modes according to the website. And in stock configuration, there's two modes which is road and rain. But since this bike is fitted with a package, it actually has a couple more riding modes, which is Dynamic, Enduro and Enduro Pro and also the starter and kill switch. So as you can see, for the gauge cluster, it uses a combination of LCD and analog, and yeah, the information is displayed on this tiny LCD display, while the tachometer and the speedometer is analog. There's a lot of information that's being displayed here, and it's like we're using a TFT. I think for the time, 2016, TFTs weren't that popular but I think for the subsequent models, all of the GSs uses a TFT display. Right, so to toggle, you once again use the trip and info button. When you toggle the trip button, it displays the odometer, trip 1, trip 2, trip A, the range that's left on the bike, consumption, and speed. And I don't know what this setup enter means actually. Back to the odometer. When you toggle the info, okay, it displays the date, the external temperature of the bike, the engine temperature, the consumption per litre, which is 5.2 litres, consumption 2, and speed. I think this is the average speed. We've also got a voltmeter. I don't know what all time is, road time, and date. For me, I feel that the speedometer is kind of small. You cannot really see clearly how fast you are going, but it does the job lah. Right guys, so as with a GS, you can expect a lot of rider aids and technology being packed into this machine, but considering that this is a 2016 model, I'm surprised that there's a lot of features that's being packed into this bike for its time. So it's really advanced at the time of its release, if you ask me lah. Okay, so just to list them a few that I have managed to see, okay, hopefully we get everything. Okay, we got full LED lighting all around, 2 riding modes, rain and road. ABS is standard with Brembo brake calipers, 2 rotors in the front, 1 in the rear. Can toggle it off the ABS for off-road situations. We got a hydraulic clutch, which in my personal opinion is kind of hard but still manageable, and also I feel as if it's like slipper clutch, so it's really kind of smooth. Right by wire throttle, we got ACS also, which is automatic stability control, which is basically traction control. And also the GX exclusively comes in a shaft drive, which is very durable and less maintenance required than a regular chain drive lah. So basically you change out the shaft oil and yeah, that's it. Fully adjustable rear shocks, hard, soft and normal. And also there's cruise control lah. There's also options that you can add on for the GS, and it comes in this package and whatsoever according to the website. And usually owners will definitely add them lah, because for the price that you're gonna pay for this bike, you definitely want them. So I presume that this bike is fitted with the touring package from what I see over here and according to the website itself lah. Okay, so for the touring package, it comes with 3 more riding modes which this bike has. They have dynamic, Enduro and Enduro Pro, which also adds the Enduro ABS and Enduro ACS, which is the Enduro traction controller, and also accessory LED lights and LED indicators, gear shift assist, which is basically quick shifter, but only when you're shifting up lah. When you're shifting down, you still need to clutch in. And for 2016, the keyless transponder is an option, but late in 2016 and going forward after that, all BMW GSs have a keyless transponder lah, so they don't use a key anymore. So the key is basically for the side cases lah. And also this bike is Navigator 5 ready. So this is BMW's in-house infotainment system. It's developed by Garmin for BMW. It has the multi-controller on the left handle grip, as you can see over here, and also aluminum storage cases for your storage needs. Okay, the right case is 36 liters to accommodate the exhaust pipe. To the right is 44 liters, and the top case is 32 liters. And BMW, they recommend to put a helmet inside here. Man, there's a lot of features for one motorcycle, man. I've tried out these features and they're actually kind of useful lah. And I especially love the cruise control. Alright, so another novel feature is the adjustable windscreen, but it's a manually adjustable windscreen. So there's actually a screw over here that you can adjust, and you can just twist it and it will adjust the height of the windscreen accordingly lah. So I presume that this is an aftermarket windscreen, because I think the stock ones come in clear. I prefer a clear one over a tinted one. So horn check for the BMW 1200 GS Adventure. Damn, that's really loud. So given that it's a very popular bike available all over the world, and with its long production history, there's definitely a lot of aftermarket accessories that you can play with and modify. So if you're keen on like making this bike, you know, to style it your own way, you're in for the poison. Okay, so up next you gotta talk about the colors. Okay, so for 2016, there's light white, ocean blue metallic matte, and racing red matte.
This particular bike being reviewed is the triple black, a special edition color.
Like this particular influencer in Malaysia always say, hitam itu premium, black is premium.
Hitam itu kan premium. Anjay.
Xing Motor is listing this particular bike at $28,000. It is registered in late 2016.
And additionally, Xing Motors is providing 1 month warranty for the engine.
So when you're stationary like this, you do feel the weight. I mean, at 229 kg is really prominent. But when you're moving off, the weight basically disappears, and it also handles like a dream. So that's why I say in start-stop situations, it doesn't do too well. I feel that it's still manageable. It's not really that bad, just a bit cumbersome lah. When you are stationary, start-stop traffic, riding in slow speed. This is kind of bike that you don't want to go fast in. And just going into a roundabout here, oh man, it goes effortlessly. Oh! Oh man. And already you don't feel like you're going fast also. It's really that stable. It's really that comfortable that, oh, sekali 100 already. No wonder all the GS riders like to tailgate. Because it's just that smooth, it's just that comfortable of a ride to go in a high speed in that you don't feel that you're going fast. Like when you look down the speedo, suddenly 100, 120. You know, as a rider who has never ridden a GS before, only just like look from afar, I really appreciate what, you know, the decades of work that BMW has done to make such a bike. And yeah, this is not sponsored, by the way. You know, I try to keep it real in this bike reviews, and this is personally coming from me. Alright, so we're in the highway now. Let's see how fast I can take it lah. Woo, but it gets up to speed pretty quickly. We're already at 160. Oh man! Okay, no, I'm just scared. I'm scared. We're not gonna push it too much, but 180 is the best that I can do with it lah. It's pretty scary actually, to be riding that fast. But it has the potential to go beyond 180. I've heard riders, when they're on the North-South highway, they'll go like 200, 220, which is crazy, man, crazy. But when you're riding it on the highway like this, right, the bike really encourages you to go faster and faster. That wind resistance, you know, that makes it scary. But other than that, it's stable, you know, it's really stable. And it's really comfortable. You don't feel as if like it's gonna tank slap or anything. It gets up to speed, man. Oh my gosh, just at the pull of a throttle. Woo! And it doesn't vibrate too much either. Well, I can actually feel it on the handlebars. But I think maybe because there's grip puppies installed, maybe the vibration is not that prominent. But still, man, it's still pretty okay. It's still pretty good. And I can feel the heat on my inseams right now, and also my inner shins, but it's still okay. It doesn't bother me too much. The heat dissipation on it is pretty good. Not to forget, there's cruise control. Okay, so cruise control is on. You see, guys? Oh my god! Cruise control! Really makes it easy, man, when you're riding long distances on the highway. You don't need to hold on to the throttle. Then when you want to turn it off, just flick the switch and the engine braking comes into play. Man, I'm in awe. It's like, wow, what? And all the riding controls over here, they are really convenient. It's really at the tip of your thumbs and fingers, literally, because the BMW really ain't think about everything when they are making this bike. Even the toggle wheel on the left handlebar control over here is really to make it easier to navigate the infotainment system, which this bike doesn't have, unfortunately. Alright. Marvel of engineering, this bike.
Right guys, so I've had like 4 full days with the BMW GSA, and I have to say that nothing comes close. From the handling, the riding aids, to the performance, everything in here works in symphony with each other. And certain features that you think that you don't really need, they really do come in handy and useful once you have them on this bike. It's really a great all-rounder, and especially for myself, wanting to go on long distance touring, I think it's a perfect bike. I'm not really keen on the tall ride height and weight, however. I think vertically challenged riders may have some issues trying to tame it at first, but I think it's okay lah after they get used to it. Also, while you're riding this bike for quite a while, like maybe half a day, you can feel the heat in your inseams, your shins. It's not as hot as a Harley, but it's really not that cooling as a Honda, I would say, but it's still bearable if you ask me. Also, I feel that certain riders may feel that the GS is a bit of an overkill thanks to its features, its size and its performance. There's features like adjustable suspension, cruise control. Even though you may not find them useful at first, but over time, when you do more and more riding, long distance riding especially, these features will definitely come in useful. And yeah, you don't need to modify or add anything on the bike. I mean, it's there completely stock from the factory. You just get on and go. And also I personally feel that for new class 2 riders, and even for myself who has ridden a lot of other bikes but has never ever ridden a GS before, this is a bit of a learning curve. Like, even for me, I'm still trying to get used to it. It's really too tall for me, it's really an overkill, but once you get used to it, oh my god, it's just a dream. And with the features that it has, I cannot stress it enough, with the riding features that it has, it's really something. It's really something to be reckoned with. And it's really the perfect tourer and all-rounder if you ask me. Right, so once again, huge thanks to the Xing Motor for loaning me this bike for review, and it's on sale, by the way. You can always go down there and inquire them. Not only that, they got other bikes for sale, from new ones to old ones, and they want me to highlight this. They got a lot of the new ADV 350s for sale. You go on down to the Xing Motors and inquire them and talk to the sales staff over there if you're keen on buying a new or used bike. So once again, apologies if I didn't cover everything, certain things that I didn't mention or certain things I get wrong, but hopefully this video will find it useful. I mean, coming from me especially, who has never ridden a GS before, it may just be my new dream bike. That's it for the vlog. We'll see you guys in the next one.